Hey guys, I'm here in the Naknek River Valley today. Later today I'll be taking the float plane and we'll be flying to the Katmai National Park.
And southeast bound.
It's a beautiful morning here at the sea base in Anchorage, Alaska. We couldn't ask for better weather. And today I'll be flying a few visitors from Anchorage to the Katmai National Park.
Welcome again. This is Lake Hood. Here's the busiest seaplane base in the summertime. This is actually two lakes, Lake Spinard and Lake Hood.
On X-ray disregard position report number 3, follow Beaver downwind, clear to land west.
And they have connected the two lakes with these canals. Now all the airplanes that you see here out the window, these are privately owned areas where they park in very high demand. There's a 10-year waiting list to get a slip.
The trip from Anchorage to the Brooks camp is about 250 miles, depending on how you route, and that's of course weather dependent. But it's anywhere from 2 hours to 2.5 hours in the 206. Our flight takes us along the Alaska Range, and then we'll cross over to the western side, where we'll fly over landmarks like Iliamna Lake. The Cook Inlet is a fascinating region. It's also the most populated watershed in all of Alaska. And on the western side, it contains active volcanoes Mount St. Augustine and Mount Redoubt. It stretches about 180 miles from the Gulf of Alaska to Anchorage, where it then ends in the Turnagain Arm and also the Naknek Arm. On the northern side of the Cook Inlet is the Turnagain Arm, and it's one of only about 60 bodies of water worldwide to exhibit a tidal bore. Tidal bore is about a 6-foot wave, and in this region it travels about 15 miles an hour. The Turnagain Arm sees the largest tidal range in all of the United States, with about a mean of 30 feet. And this is about the 4th highest in the world. And as far as wildlife goes in this region, the beluga whale of the Cook Inlet is in real trouble. The Cook Inlet beluga whale is genetically distinct and geographically isolated stock. The population fell to about 278 in 2005. And I think there's a real shared responsibility to do something about this.
Romeo's north side of Naknek Lake, 1,500 inbound for Brooks.
And down to Naknek Lake, where we'll land right at the beach. And this is where the Katmai National Park and Brooks camp is located. Out on the beach, we'll see some juveniles playing and fishing. And typically the beach fills up with a lot of seaplanes. Some of these visitors arrive from all over this region, like areas like King Salmon, Kodiak, the Kenai Peninsula with places like Kenai and Homer. We'll follow the trail along the beach and go to the ranger station first. That's where we will check in. For first-time visitors, it's mandatory to attend a safety briefing. And this is where we'll get some basic education on safety in the wilderness, and especially staying safe from bears. And the Katmai National Park and here at Brooks Camp is an absolutely no food in the outside camp. So they've designated safe areas where we can enjoy our snacks and lunch. And these are protected by electrical fences. And this keeps the wildlife safe from humans. There are a few viewing areas within the close proximity of the Brooks Camp Ranger Station. We can walk along these elevated walkways, which gives us a nice aerial view of the surroundings and of the wildlife, and primarily it keeps the wildlife safe from humans. And then as we follow the trail, we can head on to the Brooks Falls. It's about a mile and a half hike from the ranger station. It's an easy level hike. And of course, there's plenty of entertainment along the way. The sows and the cubs typically hang out at the lower part of the river, away from the males that mainly feed at the waterfall on salmon. So when you hang out in this area, you'll see a lot of the sows and the cubs playing, some teaching going on. Like this mom is fishing, and she tries to show these spring cubs what happens when you fish and teach them the techniques of swimming. And then as we head onto the waterfall, again onto another elevated walkway which gets us to these viewing platforms. There are two viewing platforms. One is down by the riffles, which is about 100 yards downstream from the main falls, and then the main viewing platform is right here by the upper falls, and this is where we can view this behavior of the bears catching the fish as they swim up the river and as they cross over that obstacle. Now this is a male dominant area, and of course there are certain prime spots, so this feeding becomes a fairly territorial situation, even though bears are not territorial. But when it comes to feeding and feeding on the salmon specifically, there's a definite hierarchy of social structure going on here. But this offers really some beautiful viewing to the public, and of course it keeps us safe from the bears. Make sure you bring your camera. And if you're so inclined, there are guides that will bring you fishing, and you pretty much can fish downstream from the waterfall here. That's a favorite fishing spot. This is a guided operation, and you really have to be aware of the safety elements of being in the wild so close to the animals feeding. And there are really strict guidelines as to what you can and cannot do in this environment.